Sir, you're really bothering me. Bird. Hi guys. In case you didn't know, I'm some guy on the internet called Erwin, where 12 years later I still haven't recorded a proper, quote-unquote, proper impression for the Erwin channel and explain why I call myself Erwin. But maybe 1 hour after I record this, maybe I will. Or maybe 1 more year I will. I don't know. Doing the Erwin impression. Anyway, enough about that. Stick something down. So I wanted to make a fucking video today. Oh, I got interrupted, and I didn't want to have that included in the video, so I cut it out. And now I'm back here online, whatever that means. So I wanted to make this video today to talk about something that it's probably already been talked about basically from one way or another, but let's talk about the way I would say it. And that is, and for a safe disclaimer, let's say this is not the answer, but this is a way of looking at it. So, yip yip, hooray, and all that shit. So, here goes. Life, our existence, and everything in it is like a session of Gary's Mod. Do you know what Gary's Mod is? In case you don't know, that is a sandbox game. Sandbox. Interesting wording. Let me go ahead and tell you why that is. Because in a way of looking at it, from what I've seen and heard, let's just say that. Let's not claim we know everything, okay? Let's just say from what I've seen and heard about, is that this entire universe is the insides of a sandbox. And if you want to go off on that thing about how everything's already here and nothing is created nor destroyed, then you want to know what that means? You want to know what I see the world dead means in one way to me? It means that, you can say in one way and I get it. It's like, in one way I am alive. But in another way, I'm dead just like everything else. That's because it's all finished. So what I'm trying to say here is that if it's all dead, that means in this way that trying to think words. You're doing it live and I probably don't want to cut it out. SpongeBob. SpongeBob, that won't save you from me though. But anyway, I don't even know the... Alright, yeah, the thing, the ghost and SpongeBob. Yeah, that's something else I could talk about, but let's stay on this real quick. Yeah, so where was I? I think it was something to do with, yeah. So if it's all dead in one way, if it's all finished in one way, then what that really means is that it is merely rearranging with what we already got. That's it. In other words, the hard drive always has and always will hold as much space as it will. But what's happening is that the ones and zeros are rearranging. That's it. We're not getting out of the hard drive, and that hard drive is not getting out of the computer. So, yeah, you can build a sandcastle as high as you want, and you can keep it up for quite a while. Eventually, it's all going to come down, and it's going to get rebuilt, and then it's going to come down, and it's going to get rebuilt. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it always will be. The sand particles in this sandbox are merely rearranging. And for all of you, and I don't mean to be a party pooper for you people, But all of you would talk about the eternal glory of heaven and the eternal detriment of hell. Guess what? You can build that as high as you want. And just like everything else, that's going to come crashing down. It's going to come building up again. Can you really comprehend eternity? Like, you know the basic concept of it. But can your brain literally do that? Like, you want to go about your definition of infinity. It's like, if you really think about it, if you could keep adding to your brain forever, then wouldn't that mean, like, without deleting or erasing anything, then wouldn't that mean that your brain would actually have to grow in size? Like, if you had a hard drive and you had a 1 terabyte, but now you want to have 2, then wouldn't it have to have more somehow physically or whatever? In a way, you know? It's like, or are you trying to tell me that somehow, oh, well, now the read and write head can somehow write in smaller densities? And it's like, can you do that? Is it really that simple? Or do the actual grains, or however that works, do they have to become somehow smaller too? And it's like, do you have to do something physical to that? Or I probably don't remember very much about hard drives, so whatever. So it's like, even if your brain does keep growing and growing, it's in physical size to keep all that. It's just gonna be like the sandcastle. It's like, you can build up as high as you want, but if everything's already here, I mean, you could say in one way it's like it's infinite, but in another way it's like, but it's already here. So what do you call that? It's merely rearranging. And yeah, I don't fall for that stupid eternal damnation bullshit. No, it does not make sense to me at all. You cannot literally comprehend, like, actually play out infinity in your mind. I don't think you can do that. And I don't think you can just infinitely get it worse and worse and worse, like they talk to you about, like, you know, Sunday school. Like, oh no, you never get used to it. Bitch, I'll tell you something. Now, I never went to a fucking war, like, with bombshells and all that shit, but I can tell you that I am a victim of one thing, and that is called millimeter and microwave radiation warfare. To an extent, I am. You want to know why that is? That's because I kept getting hit with that carrier wave, and just the feeling by itself can then trigger the thoughts, and then the thoughts could trigger the feeling, and the feelings could trigger the thoughts, and the thoughts could trigger the feeling. It could start out as thoughts, or it could start out as feeling. So you know what I had to do? I had to desensitize to that. Because one, either I had to keep feeling bad and go crazy to it, or number two, I had to come up with some sort of defense mechanism to brush it off, right? And then when I got this fucking EMF protection poncho, I realized how fucking desensitized I was. I was like and like I said, I never went to that kind of war, but I have been through another type. So I may not be a veteran in that one way physically, but I am one in another way through the abuse that I went through the microwave and millimeter wave radiation. You want to ask me, oh, but the output power to transfer by itself can't do that. Yeah, well, guess what, bitch? Here's something they probably didn't tell you, even by now at the time of this recording. Wave riding. You know what that is? That's where, even when you're not at the same frequency, these two things, frequency 1 and frequency 2, make each other louder. It's already getting bad just from that. That's not counting the dozens other that's there. How convenient that they took away free G and then probably have in place more, you know what, G in there to make it look like one thing's working and then it looks like the other thing is getting worse or changing. And it's like, if YouTube censor this, then go ahead, suck my dick. Fuck you, okay? You censor this, fuck you. Okay? Now, yeah, so when I put the thing on, it's like, yeah, you know, I have a quieter mind because I don't have the thing hitting me and making me think. But at the same time, you could also tell I was like a battle damaged person because of how because I very, very stale, very sterile, very stagnant. Like in one way that's cool because I'm just being, but in another way, it's like got so much of my drive from like feeding off that shit that I was being with, and then I respond to it emotionally, and it's like when you take that away, then I don't really feel that fired up anymore that way, you know? You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing too. Instead it's radiation that you're on when you made something. So yeah, remember that fucking angry thing you made? I mean, yeah, good chunk of your anger probably was legitimate, and I believe that. But a lot of the other stuff that you were feeling was from you being on that instead of. And then I could tell you about how two things going together once, two frequencies going at once, induces a third one that neither the two by themselves. So that means I could put out. So what that means is that you got the Super Bowl, and they know what song is going to be playing at halftime, and they're advertising a specific alcohol or drink. Now the song by itself might feel fine, and then the beverage by itself might feel fine. But when you put those two together, you get the third effect from it. It could be feeling like suicidal. Oh yeah, that's right. They probably don't fucking tell you about this at all. And then they probably, end result-wise, gaslight you and tell you probably has a mental problem. Yeah, that's how fucked up this shit is. So, yeah, I guess maybe I'm going all over the place with one aspect of someone's view. So, yeah. So, another way of being on something, you have a fan running in the background while you're composing a song. It feels intense sound. And then when you listen to it without the fan running, then it doesn't have that same feeling because you were on that fan. You could be on the sound of something, you could be on bzz, or it could be the overall combination, and you may not remember all that overall stuff, and you may not, I mean, you could probably generate tones in Audacity, and maybe if you want to do a square wave, which is what I call the full wave, which I see a pure bright white light when I hear a square wave. So if you want to do that for a quote-unquote full coverage during the pulse, you feel free to do that, but it's probably not the same timbre as the sound of an air cooler ultra at level 1, which probably frequency-wise, because even though the power going to it's the same, there's still the mechanical aspect going to it, and let's say you got clogged up with something slightly, and then the frequency that changes, because even if you pump power into it, the other part is the fan frequencies and the mechanics and getting clogged and having different frequencies, so I don't even know if I'd be able to fully replicate it, especially if it fluctuated during that time. I don't know. Maybe I listened to it while it stayed on. I don't know. Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, okay, so yeah. Those who talk about eternal glory of heaven and the eternal suffering in hell, yeah, I don't think you understand eternity, none. I don't think you do. I don't think you do. Your brain would not be able to do that all at once. I don't think it would. I think you better hope it wouldn't. I think you better pray it doesn't. I think even if it did, I don't even know how to talk about that. But yeah, I've been through a hell of sorts. I have been through a hell of a sorts with the bzzz and the other combinations, like, and then I ate like a piece of cake every day, and you combine it with that, it's like, here's the other thing too. You have 100 frequencies already. You add one more. It's not just 101, but it's also the result of the new one mixing with 1, the new one mixing with 2. Then you have all the way up to the frequency induced by the new one mixing with 99, and then the frequency induced by the result of the new one mixing with 100. So you're actually at 201 now. Now let's add one more to that. It's not just 202. No. Oh no. Now you gotta take that 202 and say plus 201. Now you have 403. And it just keeps doubling every time. So you take away 1, then you go from 403 back to 202, or I don't fucking know. And you have the wave writing, and you want to talk about amplitude modulation, bzzz, and then I talk, and then the receiver sees that amplitude fluctuation. I know what you're talking about. The cable box still need microphones in them, dude. Not when I talk about this. Yeah. But hey, you know what? Even though I knew what Gary's mod was, or is, I should say, I still played it. I still have fun with it. And if I ever get it again, I will probably play it a good deal. Yes, I know, the sandcastle will crumble. I know, no matter where the hands are on the clock is not going to jump off the wall. Those hands are not going to come out of it. But I can still have fun with it, though, because the universe is basically saying, this is all we can do. We don't have to have a reason to stay still. We don't have to have a reason to move. So, fuck it. We don't need a reason to do any of this. We're just going to do it. Universes, even if the universe had a reason, it wouldn't be the same definition as our reason that we've thought of. Okay? Yeah, we think we're so high up, and then we create a God in our image. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. Hey, and you know what? Like I said, it rearranges, so whatever helps you sleep better at night. That's the way I look at it, right? Not that I believe in that spaceman spiff guy, but yeah, whatever. So kind of a long vlog, but it felt good to do. Oh, you want another example that 2 equals to 3 that neither 2? I got another example for you. And you better pay attention to this. And you probably already came to this, basically. But I think if I'm going to do one more, it may as well be this one. Number 1, children's lullaby. Number 2, a popularly advertised candy. Let's say Sweet Tarts or Nerds. Now, this lyric and this chord specifically feels fine. And then this candy feels fine. But guess what somebody might have done behind the scenes intentionally? They took that chord and mixed it with that lyric, so that felt fine by itself. The candy felt fine by itself. But the kid had both of these at the same time. And the result is suicidal feelings. And that's not the only feeling. There's also horniness and other fucking things. So now you're gonna have to re-examine all this stuff. And you better hope that this is just like once or twice accidentally and not actually intelligently and contextually attacked. Because if it is, somebody's probably gonna have to get questioned about that. Oh yeah. And you want to know how that does with Nerds candy versus being some physical object versus the acoustics of the sound? That's because Nerds, as a physical object, puts out a natural resonance frequency. Coffee mug puts out a natural resonance frequency too, and so does other physical objects. So you could have one acoustic and one physical object putting out a natural resonance frequency. You get your third effect. Oh yeah, that's right. Plus, on top of that, popular clothing that was advertised for your kids to wear. So even if these two don't get this, then maybe it's this, and this song, the candy, the clothing, and you put that together, and then you get this, but it's actually more than that, because I told you about the doubling thing. Yeah, oh yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry this reality is fucked up. But then again, like I said, if the universe just is, then it just is. And that's why things are allowed to go as they do. And that's why there isn't some objective ruler reaching his hand down stopping this. It's not because God himself doesn't want to interfere and just let people be. No, it's because the universe just is. There is no right or wrong to it. Not to it, because it just is. Oh yeah, I'm afraid so, buddy. Everything that you and I consider right or wrong is just another is as part of just is to the universe itself. So in one way I'm like, yeah, whatever, but in another way it's like, sad and sound, y'all. Oh well. I guess we could chew on that one, because why not? I mean, we're not going anywhere anyway, so whatever we chew in this bubble gum or not, we're still not going anywhere, but whatever. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now. You guys take care. Peace out. I'm sorry. I came back. I think there was something else I was supposed to talk about. So the bzzz causes a problem that you need to go look for, right? Problem is, what the DRs probably don't tell you, at least at the time of this recording, is that you mix that gulp with the bzzz, the 2 plus the third, like I was telling you about, that the third one that neither the 2 can put out. They probably don't tell you that. Probably not. Probably not at the time of this recording. Maybe after a while this gets around, maybe they will then, but yeah, I'm sorry. Universe chose me to be one of those people to break it to you. So don't get angry at me. I'm just a messenger boy, okay? I'm just a carrier of something that somebody else probably would have, if not me. I don't know if it would have been days or years later, or maybe there's stuff on the dark web that I don't know about. But I'm not going to assume that mentality of all, well, everybody else is voting for Chris Daughtry, so I guess I don't have to. And then it turns out nobody fucking did. It's like, why would I want to take that risk? Right? Exactly. So why don't I make a video like this? Especially when I just told you about the American Idol thing. You know? It's like, what if? I don't know that. I don't know, so why would I risk it? Right? Okay, now here's the thing. So you have the, well, that's one, and then you have the bzz, that's 2, and then you have your third. That's induced by the 2, then two being put together, and neither 2 can put out by themselves, right? Now you have a total of 3. Now that third one, that's induced by these 2 being put together, that neither 2 can do by themselves, that third one creates a new problem that you have a gulp for, so now that's your 4, right? 4 gulp. Now here's the thing. You don't just have that just 4 now, but now you have 4 mixing with 3, and you have 4 mixing with 2, and you have 4 mixing with 1. So you just added 3 more on top of that 4, so now you're at 7. That keeps doubling. You keep having new problems. Keep going on this endless cycle, and bloop, 6 feet under. And what if all this time you just had to shield yourself? What if? Now, I'm not saying that's going to cure everybody. Of course not. But what I am saying is that it could probably at least cut out a lot of your problems. And for a lot of people, that might be the cure. Not for everybody, but for a lot of people, though, probably. And for a lot of the others, it can take off a lot of extra weight. And they may not be completely cured, they may still have problems. But at least you don't have that extra weight on them that they don't need. Sure, you could probably have 2 bats together and have a euphoric state. Self-harm. Why do they keep doing it? You have the bad pain, you got the bad radiation. But then you have the euphoric state that's induced by these 2 being put together that neither of the 2 put out by themselves. They have to be both together at the same time to get this. But one by themselves won't get this to come up. You have to have these 2 at the same time to get this one to go. How many of your DRs tell you that? At the time of this recording, how many? How many total about semen retention? How many? At the time of this recording, can you answer that for me? Can you name them? At least 5? Throughout the entire United States? Well, oh, okay, I don't know. That's probably a big stretch. I hope it's not that bad, but yeah, okay. Bye.